Okay, I want to look at this quick video about these two comparison, right? And they're both black, by the way. But they're telling you different styles of cold approach, right? One is called Ian Danerum. It's basically one the guy that happens to be average looking, but he can get dates. And the other one's Quads, which you can get where he doesn't show his dates, right? He tells you cold approach and looks and all that. But he goes posting, street on interviews in Manchester. Also does street interviews in London back then when he was living in London. He's from East London, from Walthamstow, right? I caught this video for a while and always I was impressed by it on TikTok. So it's like, oh, yeah, this guy's a big deal. And nowadays, it's giving you generic statement, the devices that, works for a beginner, but advanced is like, we've already done that. So give us different advice. It just gives you the same old advices, right? They haven't given you different things, right? Move out, right? How you should work out, how it looks on, a major de facto, and how, they don't say the average guy a lot of time, right? Most of the time it's all about personality and stuff. That's what most women want, right? They want to get personality and then some of the looks factor, right? Um, and listen, looks for a man is not much a priority because you're not clever here, right? You're not someone like that. You're not someone bashing your face off, to find looks magazine, yeah. You're someone who just want physical strong, right? And put a little basic hygiene, right? And dress well, yeah. That's actually basic for a man, anyways, right? When you go to work, it's like we do that basic times, yeah. But how people don't do basic hygiene, I never know. But the same people never wash their bums, so you know, then they start doing that, right? And then maybe then your confidence will go up, right? But the problem is that he doesn't do much daytime interviews. Yeah, that's when he does a lot in London, but he doesn't do day interviews in Manchester a lot. I don't know why. He thinks street interviews get you more views and clicks, yeah, and yes, that does it to a certain extent, but is that what most for you people in Manchester now? They view as a nightlife. Yeah, that's only one part of it, right? You need to do daytime because not everyone drinks and smokes and wants to go nightlife because most of the women that you see on the street interviews are like non-coherent, right? They're non-coherent and they don't know what they say, right? And they don't say the most smartest way of it, right? They always say the most generic or the most crazy things they would say. They would never say them sober, right? Well, they're not criminals, but like, when I say coherent, I mean they don't have to think straight when they're drunk, right? Because sometimes when you're drunk, right, you don't always you always say the most crazy things, right? Um, and you're not exactly thinking anything that is proper, not exactly thinking makes sense, right? If you get what I'm saying, right? Whereas Ian is more of a public guy, right? He's on his drink, okay, he doesn't smoke it, but he doesn't go out clubs and he doesn't go to bars, anything, right? But also at the same time, he just he's I'm not criticizing anyone, but I just seen the one of them sells coaching course, and also they're selling new coaching calls, yeah. And I often comment on this video, right, saying it improves something, right. And remember, most guys don't look for improvement, yeah. They look for you to sell, to look for you to buy his course or buy his coaching call, yeah, so that you can get like 30 days of Dane. I could make your Danes go easily well. What Quads is like, DMs exactly the same, yeah. But he goes to generic stuff. So it's like there's different styles going on there, and there's no platform for middle side, yeah, where yes, looks matter, but it's not like the major the factor of it, right? So what I mean by that is that looks is so subjective that for most guys, right, looks in the face is not really a priority. And for most, you probably need to clean your face up, right? You don't want to drink, you don't want to smoke, right? Your face is fine, yeah. And I'm telling you, right, when they get out of 10, it means their personality. When they give them 8 out of 10, it doesn't mean validation, right? It means they're giving them personality and a little bit looks as well, right? But all he wants to get validated. I'm like, bro, you don't need to get validated if you're within yourself. You know what you're doing. Yeah, if you're in yourself, you believe you love yourself, then you don't need to get validated, right? Because the validation, leave it up to the women. Yeah, they're getting validated from other people. Then we don't need to get validated because, we don't, because, please, man, men are good in their actions. Yeah, women say with the most affection words. Right? So men say to women affection words, it means a lot and it means the heart. Yeah, but women say to men, it's like it means coming from them as well, right? But it means the actions, right? So there's a difference of it, right? And then Ian's okay, but all I can say is that you need to just basically if you come on QA video say I'm not selling your course, I'm doing coaching call, um, and then you need to come out and say that look, you don't have to take my coaching call, you don't have to take my course here. It's only optional if you want help, right? If you don't want help, you can watch my videos, you can do it yourself, right? You realize that many more people don't need to take coaching calls and coaching courses, right? Because they can find it for themselves, right? Just like I learned it for free, right? I learned it, got numbers and didn't get days, but I'll get there, right? I will get there. Yeah, there's no short or long term for this, right? It's either you have to work through it, or maybe believe that you have to a shortcut, which is dependent on the coach, right? So the coach will find your personality in the plan, and perhaps this is gonna come, and he will give you pointers where to approach and stuff, right? And that's what, and then he will show you, and then give improvements, and then after that you give you notes and say, oh, I'm done for today, right? And you're gonna do it yourself, right? If you need help, well, get into my coaching plan. That's what a coach is, right? They decide to help you out. Yeah, I tell you what's struggling with, and then I tell you that I can help you speak properly, right? I can help you improve your approaches. Yeah, it don't mean getting on to dates, right? But these are the approaches that you struggle in order to get dates, right? I can help you improve your approaches so you can get dates, right? I'm not saying, and I'm not the coach will not tell you that, will not say that you should get dates immediately, right? You get fast, right? All I'm saying is that will help you improve your approaches, not when he tries to keep you around and spend more money. Then he will promise you more dates when really it depends upon you and depends on the woman, right? And depends if she's gonna flake on you or not, right? So it depends on the woman, depends on availability at times, right? And all I can say is that you need to find a city where it's not busy, but it's not like really quiet. You know what I mean? You have medium cities where you can flow better, you can talk to people better. Yeah, rather than high risk city, high pace city where it's high pace and people are just going about your day. That's what I find struggles with. But luckily enough, right, I don't really struggle much, right? But the stats are otherwise, right? I'm still improving, but believe me, right? I've got my own situation as well. I need to hold out to, yeah. I think the last rule is that you should move hometown when you need to, right? Because that means that maybe you improve results, maybe you need to grow a little better, maybe to grow that you can think clearly, and stuff like that. Because that's important for your self growth. Because if you don't move your hometown and if you don't move away from your city, place or anything, right, then all you is just being stuck in the same mindset. That's my advice to you, right? As for these two advice, I wish they could listen to the comments, because some of the comments are really useful and I can help your channel. Right? They always need to be open in self criticism, constructive criticism and feedback, rather than just to see the comments and feel like they're insulted, right? So they think they're perfect. Well, nobody's perfect, man. You need to improve. Improve with your videos. There's always a way to improve. There's always a way to improve, right? So I don't think that, we're insulting you, right? Some of the comments, right, are just looking for you to improve, right? But I guess some of the comments are lazy in the self-defeat mindset, which means that I can't get girls because of whatever reason and X, Y, and Z. I'm like, you can't control much, right? You can't control appearance, right? Can't control height, color, skin color, or anything like that. Height, anything like that, right? You gotta control about abs, mind, maybe accent too, and the way you say, right? You control that, right? Control all three, which is abs, okay, gym, mind, a word, then all should go in the plan. All should go in the plan. Don't worry about those three, because the media and the YouTube will tell you that I'm depressed. I'm like, have you ever gone outside of your town, or maybe gone outside and actually see a woman you fancy? Maybe it's not over as you think it is. Maybe it's not over. right? And people saying it's over, so we don't need to deal with it, right? So, so I think they need to improve better. Barcelona, we need to improve better. I think everyone needs to improve a lot better, and just so that we can see that there's authenticity instead of performative, and there's a lot of bias towards it. You know what I mean? That's all my advice to those two YouTubers, right? In Dame Rim and Quad, right? So Scott, and yeah, by the way, Quad, just don't go red pill, because like you need to be normal. Yeah, red pill is not exactly, it's not exactly correct logic for it, right? Because red pill just says the fake stuff, yeah, and regurgitate and brainwash one to think in certain ways. Yeah, so I wouldn't bother giving airtime to them, giving airplay. Yeah, I would just focus on being balanced and being in the middle ground, just like me, right? Seeing both sides and just compared to one thing. Yeah, looks on, major factor. Looks are a factor, but they are a major factor to life. Yeah, because most importantly, I suppose going on because man personality, right? Women's looks are a priority to them, priority, right? But men looks, yeah, but it's not much of a priority compared to women. That's all I'm gonna say. Anyways, so subscribe, like, and share. See you next one.